Def Comedy Jam 25. It's good to see so many funny people together in one room, all wondering the same thing. Is Katt Williams gonna show up?
I'm nervous as hell right now.
Satan and all shady are my enemy. I don't run from the fight. I'm not scared of consequences, because if you're scared of consequences, then that means that breeds fear, and fear means you gonna stop. And we can't ever afford to stop.
Katt Williams said it. The lawsuit started coming out right after he said it, and he said all would be exposed. He heavily implied, and this is again an allegation, that Lucien Grange was having some sort of a relationship with Diddy.
All of these big dick deviants is all catching hell in 2024.
Remember when Katt Williams went on Club Shay Shay and dropped those explosive truths? And everyone laughed him off like he'd lost it? Steve Harvey looked so tense he could barely keep his cool whenever Katt's name came up. But guess what? Now that federal witnesses have mentioned Snoop Dogg, sealed testimony has leaked, and Kim Porter's real diary has surfaced with wild pictures. It's all starting to make sense. Everything Katt said is turning into federal business. This ain't gossip anymore. This is reality unfolding in real time. Hollywood's elite are scrambling to run from Diddy's empire like it's on fire. But the names Katt dropped are literally being read out loud in courtrooms tonight. The same people who mocked him as unstable are now silent, watching his crazy claims turn into official evidence. How ironic is that? Katt wasn't just ranting, he was warning. When he said, 30 years I've done nothing but collect information. That wasn't a flex, it was a confession of how deep his reach went. 30 years of quietly gathering Hollywood's darkest secrets while everyone else was chasing clout and awards. He once said,
even Snoop, you understand? A lot of more people, their career went up when they sat on this man's lap as the director. You understand?
Oh, man.
And that's why a lot of them sold their soul to be on the director chair.
I know so many things I shouldn't know, and they all know it. And that line alone sent chills through the industry. That's what truly scares them. Katt doesn't just think he knows what's happening behind those closed doors. He does. He's got receipts, proof, and stories that could tear down legacies overnight. While other comedians were out trying to stay in Hollywood's good graces, Katt was busy building the most dangerous weapon you can have in that town, the truth. This is raw, unfiltered truth backed by cold, hard evidence. And you don't even have to take my word for it. When someone like Candace Owens, a woman known for never backing down from powerful people, steps up to vouch for Katt Williams' credibility, you know this isn't rumor talk anymore. This is documented reality. Listen to her tone, that steady conviction in her voice. She's not just defending Katt, she's confirming him. Candace revealed that Katt's intel network was so advanced, he was exposing deep Hollywood connections years before federal agents even started building their investigations. That's wild. She didn't just co-sign Katt's track record. She dropped the bomb that Katt had inside knowledge about Diddy's connections with Lucien Granger long before those same names ended up in official court filings. Just think about that for a second. While everyone was clowning Katt, calling him paranoid or unstable, the man was quietly leaking information that would later become evidence in real criminal cases. He wasn't ranting.
30 years, I've done nothing but collect information.
He was reporting before the feds even showed up. And here's where things get chilling. Candace didn't sugarcoat it with words like industry or business. No, she called it what it truly is, a gang. She made it clear that Hollywood isn't being run by friendly executives or flashy agents. It's controlled by a criminal network, moving like organized crime behind the scenes. So when someone with Candace's fearless reputation says Hollywood operates like a gang that protects its own, even when caught on camera committing crimes, that's no longer showbiz. That's a systemic criminal empire hiding in plain sight. The real question isn't if Katt Williams was right about Hollywood's hidden darkness. It's how many other celebrities are still tangled in this twisted web of control and compromise.
Says he was in possession of a trove of digital evidence from Diddy's freak-offs and parties. His name is Courtney Burgess, and he says a friend gave him 11 flash drives that belonged to the late Kim Porter. And if you follow this story, you'll know that Kim Porter is Diddy's ex-girlfriend and the mother of 4 of his kids. On those drives, the witness says 8 videos featured 8 celebrities at Diddy freak-offs or parties, and that 6 were males, 2 were females.
What Katt knew through his deep network of insiders is now being confirmed by federal investigators through sworn grand jury testimony and sealed evidence. This isn't gossip anymore. This is official, on-record, courtroom-level serious. We're talking about federal grand jury proceedings, not random YouTube theories or Twitter threads. According to reports, Courtney Burgess just testified under oath before a grand jury, handing over 11 flash drives packed with shocking footage, private videos showing 8 celebrities with Sean Combs, 6 men, 2 women, and all allegedly under the influence. That's not Hollywood scandal. That's potential criminal evidence being examined by prosecutors as we speak, and pay attention to how the anchors speak so carefully when covering it. Their tone changes. Their words are deliberate. They made it clear. The 8 people in the videos were allegedly victims of crimes. We know who they are, but we will not be naming them. That's not tabloid talk. That's the language of federal protection orders. These are famous faces now being shielded by investigators, not chased by paparazzi.
The drive also included a manuscript of an alleged Kim Porter memoir, a memoir that her 4 kids insist is fake. Courtney Burgess told his story on a podcast before he told the grand jury today, and after he told the grand jury, and I mean immediately after, he booked it over to my set, and he and his attorney talked to me. I should tell you that he was very limited in how much detail he could go into about his testimony. And because the 8 people in the videos, the 8 celebrities in the videos were allegedly victims of crimes, we know who they are, but we will not be naming them, famous or not.
Now here's where things explode. This is the moment Snoop Dogg's name enters official testimony. Courtney Burgess didn't just talk about the videos, he also claimed to have Kim Porter's original memoir, packed with photos allegedly showing Diddy alongside Snoop Dogg, Andre Harrell, and other A-list celebrities in extremely compromising situations. And remember, Kim Porter wasn't some outsider. She was the mother of Diddy's children, someone who lived deep inside that world for over a decade. Before her mysterious passing in 2018, she was reportedly gathering and safeguarding proof, photos and notes that could shake Hollywood to its core. This isn't entertainment news anymore. This is evidence, and it's turning the entire industry upside down. She wasn't just Diddy's longtime partner. She might have been his unwilling archivist.
There were other people who had publicly alleged that this is what was going on in Hollywood, Katt Williams being one of them. Take a listen to what he said to Shannon Sharpe on his podcast. And this is before the producer had dropped his lawsuit. Take a listen.
I'm quite likely to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Katt Williams said it. The lawsuit started coming out right after he said it, and he said all would be exposed. And I should make it clear that in this lawsuit, the reason why Universal Music Group is being sued by Lil Rod is because he alleges that it's them that is sitting at the top of this ring. So essentially, Diddy is working for somebody else, and that person that he named in his lawsuit was Lucien Grange. He heavily implied, and this is again an allegation, that Lucien Grange was having some sort of
the one quietly gathering proof that would later sit at the center of a massive federal investigation. The timing of everything is too eerie to ignore. Kim Porter's sudden death in 2018, ruled as pneumonia, came right when federal heat was starting to close in on Diddy's empire. Suspicious, right? Think about it.
Relationship with Diddy. So he is the person that controls Diddy, that Lucien Grange was aware of these parties, that Universal Music Group was aware of these parties. Essentially, that Diddy is the thug and the gangster working on behalf of Lucien Grange. That is the takeaway that you get when you read this lawsuit. So how odd that rather than the media being unbelievably interested, as I was, completely seized by this lawsuit, as I was, rather than them asking questions about Fahim, asking questions about Lucien Grange, he's got a very interesting past, changed his name. I don't tend to trust men that change their last names, least of all 3 times, as his family has done. Rather than any of that, they started attacking me for reading the lawsuit, for putting together the clips. How dare you say that there's some sort of a
vibrant, healthy 47-year-old woman doesn't just drop from pneumonia unless something deeper is going on. And her alleged memoir hinted that she knew the danger closing in around her. It's as if she was leaving behind a message, a trail of truth that could expose the people who thought they were untouchable. When federal agents tracked down Courtney Burgess, they didn't brush him off. They confiscated his devices. But here's the twist. He had backup copies. That single fact changes everything. It proves that law enforcement viewed his materials as legitimate evidence, not internet fantasy. If they thought he was just some wild conspiracy chaser, they would have walked away. But instead, they treated him as a key witness in an active criminal case. And it gets even darker. Burgess isn't the only one talking. Multiple witnesses have stepped forward, all providing corroborating testimony about high-profile stars caught up in what prosecutors are now calling freak-off parties. That's not speculation. That's coming straight from legal filings. According to what's being whispered, the tapes seized by Homeland Security investigations aren't just random clips. They're full-blown federal evidence involving A-list celebrities, including Snoop Dogg himself. And here's the bombshell. The witness hinted that these tapes could eventually be made public. Imagine the chaos if that happens. When Homeland Security raids someone's property, they don't grab souvenirs.
Recognize if you keep calling people a conspiracy theorist and you keep saying it's a conspiracy, that people may shy away from the topic. I don't suffer from that. I want to know what's going on, as should every single person in this country, because there should be no individual in the entire world that can beat a woman on camera and not face any charges. That is just an utter insanity. It begs the question as to what is actually going on in Hollywood. And I think the answer is that Hollywood has been being run by a gang.
They take evidence meant to support criminal charges. So the fact that witnesses specifically named A-list celebrities like Snoop Dogg means one terrifying thing. Investigators allegedly have video proof connecting big names directly to illegal activities. Hollywood's shiny surface is cracking, and what's underneath looks way darker than anyone imagined. The new federal evidence linking Snoop's alleged involvement with Diddy takes an even darker turn when you start looking at the pattern. The long history of shady loyalty that insiders have whispered about for decades. This isn't just new drama. This runs deep into hip-hop's most haunted past. And who's speaking on it? None other than Suge Knight, calling straight from prison. A man with nothing left to lose and no reason to lie. Suge was in the car when Tupac was shot in Las Vegas. He took a bullet fragment himself, meaning he's not retelling someone else's story. He lived it. He knows exactly who came through to support Pac during his final hours and who didn't. According to Suge, Snoop Dogg was nowhere to be found after the shooting. He didn't show up at the hospital, didn't reach out, didn't stand by Pac's side when it mattered most. Later on, when Snoop finally came to Suge's house with Tupac's mother, he broke down crying, uncontrollably, saying, "Nothing's gonna be all right."
It was Snoop. You understand? A lot of more people, their career went up when they sat on this man's lap as the director. You understand?
Oh, man.
And that's why a lot of them sold their soul to be on the director chair.
Tell us some of the differences between the PG version of the book and the R-rated. Like, what was changed in to the PG version?
The rated book got Snoop letting Diddy rub on his hand.
Damn.
You understand? And that's where one of the X's come from, Snoop.
Can you hold it up a little bit more? Let me see how that. Oh yeah, dang.
You understand? We don't hold our man hand. We shake it and get it back in our pocket.
Right.
You understand? They got Diddy and Neo. And if you heard Neo's wife call him Little Diddy, that he like freak off, get high and get freak off. They all baby oil you up.
Oh man, what the hell is that?
You understand?
Yeah.
The eyes
not
wide.
him and the son. That's his son, right?
Yeah. You understand?
Wow. Damn.
And you got Andre Harrell. He hugged up like they finished tongue kissing.
Yeah.
You know, we don't hug on our boys like that, sitting that close on each other's lap. You know what I'm saying? Then we got Snoop and Diddy, you know, in an appropriate way. But the reason why they in there is speak about...
But hold up. Why would he say that? Why would someone be so sure Tupac wouldn't make it? Unless he already knew. That kind of hopelessness isn't normal when your friend's still fighting to live. Suge's conclusion was chilling.
I've been confronted by so many law enforcement for the CDs, even my studio equipment was confiscated.
So the feds came and got stuff?
Yeah. Even I got a new phone. I had to get a new phone because they took the phone and did what they did. I wasn't going to use the same phone. So I just, you know, it's not mine to keep. This is all I needed. And this rate.
He believed Snoop had already cut a deal with certain people and couldn't face Tupac because of the guilt eating him alive. The timeline just doesn't add up. Tupac gets shot right after a confrontation with Orlando Anderson, a known Crips member, and suddenly, Snoop, who's long been tied to the Crips, is missing in action. He's nowhere near the hospital while his so-called brother is clinging to life. Then when he finally shows up later, he's emotionally wrecked, acting like a man who's already mourning something he knew was coming. It's hard to ignore how suspicious that looks now, especially with Snoop's name resurfacing in brand new federal documents decades later. The ghosts of the past might finally be catching up, and the truth could be way darker than anyone ever expected. But Suge Knight's accusations don't stop at questioning Snoop's loyalty to Tupac.
Someone said that when they did the raid, I'm on them tapes, and there's multiple A-list celebrities running a train on me, including certain people that are presidential.
Presidential?
No, we're talking about Diddy. We're going to come back to that, LB. Stay with me. We don't go any further until we get the result.
Man.
Hey, but anyway, once I found that out, I've been living my life for the last 20 years not knowing that had even happened to me. And now because they found out that I know that I'm on them tapes with them doing that to me, these are people that have smiled in my face since then. I had no idea that. But if there's a certain way the tape is going to come out, and there's a certain way that it never will.
Party, standing in there, it's Puffy, Dre, Snoop. What do you say?
First of all, you know I don't go to those type of parties. You know, I'm straight.
He's pulling back the curtain on a whole system built on compromise and control. According to Suge, what's happening now in the federal case against Diddy is part of a much bigger, older pattern that's been running the industry for decades. And the way he tells it, it's not just scandal, it's structure. Suge spoke with a kind of calm that only comes from someone who's seen it all. He said straight up that both Diddy and Snoop had private arrangements that were less about love and more about leverage.
I got shot in Vegas. Was Snoop at the hospital?
So, Snoop didn't go nowhere near the hospital. So when it happened, as you know, for some strange reason, but now we know the real reason, Snoop did not attend the fight with us or the club, the after party at Club 662. And it was so crazy about that, we thought it was strange that he wasn't there. This is the first one he did attend. And according to Warren G and everybody else, now we know why he didn't. But to get straight to the point was this. I was at my house in Vegas, and I started calling Snoop, telling him, hey, what's up?
This wasn't some messy rumor meant to humiliate. It was an inside look into how control works in the upper levels of hip-hop. When the man who built Death Row Records says something like that,
like, it's something wrong with this situation. Pac in the hospital, come holler at him, come check on him. So he drove down, and I was at the house waiting on him. And Tupac's mother was at my house. So we back by the pool, and then the pool area is like two big guest houses. So as when Snoop come up, and there's other people out there, we walk in the back to talk. As we start talking, I said, I'm on him, like, man, why you ain't here? You should have been at the hospital. And then Tupac's mother was there, the Fanny. She was like, yeah, I know you should want to see him. He told her, he was like, well, look, Tupac hates me right now. He mad at me. He hates me. So I feel bad, and that's why I didn't go up there. And Tupac's mother said, well, look, Pac was mad at me too for a few things I'd rather not swear than put some stealing shit, she said, right?
people listen because he knows the machinery from the inside out. What Suge described is chilling.
But, we all do that with our mothers. So she said, well, he was mad at me too, but that's my son, I'm there. And if he hates you, you still want to go do the right thing and go visit him, right? So as we start talking, Snoop just start crying and fell down and start throwing up, like literally throwing up, right? So we looking at him like, damn, what happened to this dude? So once he get up and explain to him, and we didn't think nothing weird. We just thought he really emotional right now and he throwing up, So when he got himself together, we were still talking to him. Pac's mother says, it's going to be all right. He said, look.
A system that's been operating for years, not random stories, but institutional practice. The same type of power plays that prosecutors are now describing in court documents. Suge claimed that certain powerful figures used private coercion and manipulation to trap artists, keeping them loyal through fear and secrets instead of contracts. He even went further, saying victims often become part of the system themselves once they rise high enough. That's how the cycle keeps spinning. Those who were once pressured or exploited eventually end up doing the same thing to the next generation. It's a dark hierarchy where silence equals survival.
Been able to see it all. Are you surprised at what is happening with Diddy right now?
Very surprised. I'm ultimately surprised. Like, I don't be expecting none of this type of things to be happening. You know, like I say, when I was given my position of power and given my position of, you know, leadership, I like to take advantage of it and treat people good and make sure that people that work with me don't feel like they work for me. And when they're ready to leave, and if we have a misunderstanding, if there is a separation, it's ended on love. It's never bad vibes or anything of that nature. So I try to be a better boss based off of the...
And Suga's final warning hits hard. When the full pressure builds, the same people who partied together, smiled for the cameras, and claimed family suddenly vanish. They cut ties.
Bosses that I was around when I was just an employee, just an artist. So I try to like take the good things that they did and subtract the bad things that they did. Some of the things I didn't know what they did because I was only entitled to certain information as an artist or a friend. So as a businessman, I've learned to just be good to people because I know what it feels like to have bad business done on you and to have bad contracts. So I try to give my people that I do business with a great experience. So that way, at the end of the day, you know, we feeling good about each other. And we don't have to end up facing each other, talking about how bad we treated each other.
Pretend ignorance and leave the ones at the center to burn alone. And now, watching how so many celebrities are distancing themselves from Diddy, it's hard not to see exactly what Suge was talking about. The script is repeating, and this time, the feds are watching every move. Now, all of a sudden, the same celebrities who were once side by side with Diddy are claiming they had no clue about any shady behavior. The speed and coordination of this mass distancing is wild. It's too smooth, too rehearsed to be coincidence. This wasn't just a group of friends. These were business relationships built on mutual compromise. When one person falls, everyone else runs because deep down, they all have something to hide from being tangled in the same dark web of control. And that's why Suge Knight's words hit harder than ever. His credibility comes from one thing. He's completely separated from the Hollywood machine.
This account here, where he posted, it looks like he passed the boiled egg test. Nobody knows what the boiled egg test is, but I'm going to tell you what it is, all right? And if you're ready for it, if you're sure you want to hear this, then please stay tuned because it is weird. All right, it goes like this, and this is from the words of Suge Knight, okay? P. Diddy offers you a boiled egg, and you gotta be able to put it somewhere without it cracking. And if you do that, you passed for whatever it is they need you to do. I'm not gonna lie, I thought this was a joke, but apparently, allegedly, it looks like it's something that really goes down.
Now those guys put their pants down and been over this. The eggs break. They say they're not ready yet.
This fan testimony reveals what appears to be an industry initiation test called the boiled egg test.
He's serving life, got no career left to protect, and absolutely nothing to gain by lying. When someone in that position starts naming names and describing detailed mechanisms of compromise and manipulation, you have to pay attention, especially when what he's describing matches up perfectly with what's now surfacing in federal investigations. Then came something even stranger, what fans are calling proof of a secret industry initiation known as the boiled egg test. Sounds harmless, right?
This has been going on in the industry for a whole bunch of years, for decades. And at the same time, you know, nobody wants this to be true, and it shouldn't have to be true. But if we don't fix it and do something about it, history will constantly
repeat itself. Now, Suge, you said something early on that I want to get clarification for the audience, Suge. You said early on, you can't just look at Diddy in isolation. You said this was done to him. He learned from others, and it was done to him, and then he did to others. To me, that sounds like what I hear when people are talking about situations, you know, hurt people, that someone was... they wind up being a perpetrator. Is that what you're suggesting about Sean Combs, that he was and he now?
But insiders say it's far from innocent. One fan shared how Snoop Dogg seems weirdly obsessed with boiled eggs, posting about them.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. I think he repeat what was done to him. And like I said, if you look at Russell Simmons, you know the truth. Andre Rail, you know the truth. Clyde Davis, you know the truth. Jimmy Iovine, you know the truth. So there's not certain things that all of a sudden you got this. The industry is a quick business. It's been like that for a long time.
Eating them on camera, even turning them into part of his image. At first glance, it's just another quirky celebrity habit, until you understand what those tests are supposed to represent. According to sources close to the investigation, these rituals aren't about food at all.
Look at real plain and simple. Ain't no whistleblower. Facts is there. But right now, I don't care if it's T.I., I don't care if it's Rick Ross, I don't care if it's Jay, I don't care if it's Snoop, I don't care if it's Game, I don't care if it's Dre. Nobody's stepping up on the fact that you know what's going on.
Nobody's defending them. You're right.
They're symbolic submission tests, ways to prove obedience or loyalty to certain powerful people running the industry from behind the curtain. It's chilling to even think about, but prosecutors are reportedly connecting the dots between these rituals and the control networks used to trap artists in silence. And here's the kicker. When federal heat starts rising around someone you've been close to for decades, most innocent people react with shock or speak out for justice. But when the reaction is silence and distance, that silence can be louder than any confession. Guilty people don't usually scream innocence. They move with confusion, deflection, and distance. And that's exactly what we saw from Snoop Dogg when he finally spoke up. His response was so polished, it sounded rehearsed. Like every word had been carefully measured. He acted shocked by Diddy's chaos, claimed he'd never seen anything like that, and then quickly shifted gears to talk about how he's a better boss than the people he once worked with. But if you've been paying attention, you can see right through it. That's the textbook guilty playbook. Strategic surprise, defensive distance, and a whole lot of virtue signaling. Innocent people don't promote their business ventures while their old friends face federal charges. They speak truth, show empathy, or stay silent out of respect. Guilty ones, though, they rush to rewrite the story and make themselves look cleaner than the rest. When you stack up all the puzzle pieces, Kim Porter's secret notes, Suge Knight's prison confessions, Tupac's hospital mystery, and even Snoop's bizarre boiled egg fixation, the pattern becomes impossible to ignore. Every single thread ties back to the same terrifying truth. A network of compromise and control that's been shaping the entertainment world for years. And here's the part that should really mess with your mind. If Snoop Dogg, one of the most adored and respected figures in hip-hop, was allegedly tangled up in these secret dealings for decades, then how many other stars we love are caught in that same trap? How many smiling faces on red carpets are really living under invisible chains? Because when those HSI-seized celebrity tapes from Diddy's properties finally see daylight, and you start recognizing the faces, will you be shocked? Or will it finally click that the entire industry might have been a machine of control all along, built to own, break, and silence its biggest stars? If you've been following this far, make sure to like, drop a comment, and subscribe so you never miss the next deep dive. Stay sharp, stay curious, and until next time, keep it real, fam.